As entrepreneurs, we hustle hard, we chase goals, we push the boundaries, but at what cost to our health? I have a special guest joining us today, Melissa Brotsch, and she is our expert on health. And we are going to talk about what our secret weapon is. It's our own well-being. So if you're feeling burned out, if you're feeling stressed, or just want to optimize your energy or your performance, today's topic is for you. So stay tuned. All right, Melissa, go ahead and introduce yourself because most of the people already know me.
Thanks, Kristen. So my name is Melissa Brotsch, and actually, something that Kristen and I have in common is I have a background in accounting and bookkeeping before I switched over to the health and wellness business. I had my own bookkeeping business, so that is something that connected us very right away. And about 10 years ago, I made a huge career shift through my own medical health journey. I was in my 30s and I was eaten up with chronic stress and inflammation and quite frankly disease. I had multiple things going on with blood panels as well as chronic pain and through searching for answers, I found so many answers in the alternative health industry. And so with that, I dove in. And I have been partnered with a nutrigenomics company for almost 10 years. I became a certified health and life coach, and I have had the pleasure of helping people feel better and have more energy for so they can go and be incredible at whatever they're called to be.
It was back in 2017. You originally introduced this to me, probably November. And I mean, I got started in early, I think 2018 or whatever. And the reason why is because 2017 was the year of hell. Like my stepdaughter got diagnosed on her 15th birthday in January with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Um, like my mother-in-law got diagnosed later. I think the following year, my brother-in-law got diagnosed around Halloween of that year, and the first 6 months of the year um, were spent at hospitals paying bills. A lot of times, my husband he whenever Anna was at treatment, like I was just at home with the boys, taking care of the boys because they were really young then. But it was like a single parent, and then just all the unknowns, and there was so much stress, so much unknown that I stopped taking care of myself and I felt like crap. I was depressed. Like it was just it was horrible. And that's when you kind of talked with me and things started changing around. And it's really weird because people look at me today and they're like, Kristen, how do you do everything that you do? Like they're like, you're like superwoman. And I'm like, yeah, like I am very, very busy, but it's because of meeting Melissa and learning about my own health. Because a lot of times, especially as small business owners, entrepreneurs, you're taking care of everyone else. You're taking care of the spouse, the kids. You're running a business and trying to grow it, trying to bring in extra money, employees, clients, customers, vendors, like, and then if you volunteer or are involved in the kids' lives, like doing their activities, or maybe you're volunteering at the school or something, it is really overwhelming. There's like so much that's on our plates that we need help. We need to take care of ourselves. And I didn't meet her, but I was at a pool party last year, and some other business moms were there all having fun around the pool. And she's like, yeah, I didn't know about this self-care stuff until I seen you posting about it all the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my Facebook posts about all the self-care I've been doing actually do help. So do you want to talk a little bit about things that entrepreneurs can do for just self-care to take care of themselves?
Yeah. So first of all, as you were talking about all that, I'm pretty sure my cortisol just increased. Like, because as busy moms, business owners, I absolutely love working with everyone. My favorite person to work for tends to be, or to work with, tends to be a female entrepreneur, especially mom entrepreneurs. We're trying to be all things to our kids and be a part of the activities and be supportive. And our kids are busy, right? They're like, we want our children to be a part of something. Like, I know you're between band and taekwondo. I'm between
Yeah.
horses and was football when he went to school. And so we want to do all of that. And we wear this hat as an entrepreneur that when our business isn't functioning, we're not able to pay for all of those things. So we need to make sure that our business is always functioning. And then, of course, if you bring on entrepreneurs and all of that, I just want to picture like a scale. And with everything that I mentioned, you're putting a boulder on top of it. Okay, so now you've got this big scale of boulders and you're carrying that around everywhere. Well, that wreaks havoc on your body at the cellular level. It literally, like, you feel this weight. And so I know it sounds cliche, the whole airplane oxygen mask metaphor.
People have been using it more and more now. People understand what it means.
You got to put your they tell the moms, put your oxygen mask on first. And why is that? Well, it's because if you go to take care of your kid first and you lose oxygen, you pass out and there's nobody to take care of your kid. So we understand that philosophy. However, we are just now starting to learn how to apply it to life because that's
Yeah.
literally what's happening. How often have you been cooking dinner and you serve your family food, and by the time you're ready to sit down and have food, you're up doing dishes or answering the phone or doing whatever is coming along. And so then all of a sudden, and everyone's body is different. I heard a great neurologist explain that your genetics are like a loaded gun. Just because grandpa died of a heart attack doesn't mean that you are going to die of a heart attack. However, what pulls that trigger of that loaded gun is your lifestyle. So if you have these genetics, and so whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or whenever, at some point, if you keep pouring out from an empty cup, which is what I think that's what started our conversation
Yeah.
all those years
My
back,
cup was empty.
if you're pouring out from an empty cup, at some point, biologically, your body is made up of systems. Those systems will start shutting down. And if our computer system shuts down and you have these different softwares that start shutting down, what happens? Your business shuts down, right? Well, that's what happens with our bodies. And so I specifically broke in my late 30s. I had a bookkeeping business. I had two kids, a household, a husband that traveled 50 to 75% of the time. I thought that there was no reason to take care of myself because I was in my 30s. I was in my
Yeah.
prime, right?
Yeah.
And now that I'm turning 50 next week. So now that I'm like 50, I look back and think to myself, man, I really was in my prime. At the same time, my body broke because I put too much pressure. So I have multiple tools in my tool belt, if you will. And some of the tips that I want to give you today, first of all, um, is learn how to manage the cortisol levels. So cortisol is a stress hormone. It is
Oh
is
yeah.
actually a
Stress.
hormone that is good. Like everything that your body produces is good, but when think about being in fight or flight. Okay, so if you're in a crisis moment, your fight or flight kicks in. You are now functioning on adrenaline. And now you are, I'm trying to think of some layman's terms. Your body was created to do that. So if you think about, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, if you see a bear, your body gives you that emergency gasoline to be able to do whatever you need to do in that handle that situation. And then you should check out of that situation. And now your cortisol levels come down, your adrenals come down, and everything should come back to homeostasis, which is, let's say, ground zero. Unfortunately, in today's times, especially as a busy entrepreneur, we're in these fight or flight situations often, right? And then you get this adrenaline rush, and then you are supposed to come down, but let's say you're here and you get another one. And then you start coming down and you're here and you get another one. And so you're just constantly climbing. How do you know that you have cortisol issues? You have sleep issues. The number one sign is a cortisol belly, which is a rounder belly where
Thought that
that
was a beer belly.
well, and cortisol is part of that. But yes, so cortisol belly when your hormones are off, and think about brain fog. So all of these experiences that you have, and you just chalk it up to stress. Well, every time you do that, you're adding one more boulder onto that. So what do we do about that? Right? First of all, learning how to sleep I find is the number one issue that often entrepreneurs, how many of us are like this until we're going to sleep and then we wonder why our eyes can't just shut and go to sleep. So being able to shut the world out an hour before you're going to sleep is super important. Another tip is actually take meal breaks. How many of us are at our computer taking a bite, typing, taking a bite, typing? Our brains are never going into what's called rest and digest, meaning your body needs to go, okay, I'm going to digest my food. You have only so much energy. So let's say you've got an AC blowing in all the rooms and you have one room that is hot, right? And so you have an AC person come in to balance those airflows, right? So that room can cool down. Well, when it's time for you to start eating and you need to digest your food, you need to be able to shut the vents off on all those other working things so your body can rest and then actually digest your food. How many times have you gone to lunch and you left feeling like you had a giant brick on your stomach?
Yep.
Because your food didn't digest. It's just sitting there because your body is spending energy doing other things instead of the energy it needs to digest food. So, and I'm looking at the time. So, one of the things I've got a 12 step, if you will, habit stacking program that I teach
Okay.
people on different habits that they can slowly incorporate and build over time. I know that you've gone through that, so you've learned
Yep.
I'm going to focus on hydration this week and I'm going to focus on, so we talk about different things like that. However, I know as a busy entrepreneur, sometimes those things just don't seem realistic. So now I'm going to talk about the secret sauce that really moved your needle and my needle specifically the most. And that is cellular activation. That is a company that I have been partnered with for over or almost 10 years. And what it's a technology in the nutrigenomics. I'm going to use some fancy words for a minute in the nutrigenomics industry that scientifically are proven instead of supplementing what you think your nutrition is missing, it actually goes in at the cellular level, flips the switch on different pathways and turns them back on. So if you think about stress and all of the negative effects that it's having on your body, that's called oxidative stress and it's causing cellular damage. Our flagship product literally reduces that by 40% in 30 days in all mammals, and it's proven by 28 peer-reviewed studies. Entities like OSU, LSU, American Heart Association, the National Institute of Aging did a 10-year study, so the science behind it is remarkable. And then we've got other activators that like activating collagen, that we activate your body to make its own collagen as well as replenish. And then our newest activator is a GLP-1 activator, where it is activating your GLP-1 hormone, which is responsible for the gut brain axis. And if you haven't heard anything about that, just know that your gut is your second brain. And so if you're looking for solid dopamine and serotonin and all the neurotransmitters and all the things that help your brain work at those optimal levels, that's what that is for. And so we do have an array of other products. That the number one thing to know is when you activate your body to work how God created it to work, it's shocking how much your performance goes up, how your mood balances, and how much of that load you feel like you can carry without feeling this heaviness throughout your day.
So I don't know, I spent a few years, several years learning about this stuff because I didn't know anything about like oxidative stress, like working out creates oxidative stress and you think working out is good. And like all this stuff creates oxidative stress on our bodies. And so I spent a lot of time learning about it, and I know I talked about it a lot on my social medias for a while. And the last year I've kind of taken a break because now I'm focusing on helping business owners with tax strategies. So I spent the last year or two doing that. But what was really cool is I'm a part of Aspire Wealth, and Melissa's the one who took me to that conference. It was named just Aspire like a few years ago, and I dove in really deep in learning about self-directing and how to grow your money uh tax free. And I spent the last year and a half digging deep into that. Well, the funny thing is that I was at an Aspire conference 2 weekends ago, and I had this idea to bring Melissa on about a month ago. Of you know what, health is so important to us because if if we're not working in our business, like if something happens to us health wise and we can't work, the cash flow is going to stop. Our health is the most important thing that we have. And if we don't have it, everything else is going to suffer. So that's what prompted me to bring this on real quick. And before I let Melissa talk again, that going back to the Aspire conference 2 weeks ago, the third day, they literally brought in a doctor who talked about health. And he's literally talking about oxidative stress and NAD and peptides and collagen. And he's literally talking about all this stuff that can help the small business entrepreneur. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I already knew this was important, but for a doctor to sit here and talk to thousands of entrepreneurs about it, I'm like, okay, like we're on the right track. So Melissa, if you want to talk real quick about because your husband has had 2 strokes now, and he's an entrepreneur also, and both of you are entrepreneurs. So if you just want to talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So, we thought we had all this time, right? We both own our own businesses. His business is in the welding and oil and gas industry. Mine's in the wellness industry. And we're in the prime of our lives, right? This is when we should be making, the biggest strides, if you will. And my husband had a stroke totally unexpectedly. He is perfect health, not overweight. And quite frankly, they've never even found how, like, nobody
Yeah.
knows why he has had a stroke. And the first stroke, he had probably about 6 months before we got him recovered from his deficits. And I will also tell you, there are certain situations where the medical industry is phenomenal, and there are certain situations that the medical industry, because they have no answer, there's no root, they can't find any reason why he had these strokes. There was also no treatment. And so we were sent home with hope it gets better. And that wasn't good enough because we are entrepreneurs. He makes his money by being on the road and talking and doing all the things that he does. And so thank goodness I have a huge Rolodex of wellness professionals, and I was able to reach out to somebody within our company who had a stroke and TBI center in California. And I said, "What do I do?" And so she gave me exactly what protocols as far as what products to have him on. We rented a hyperbaric chamber. He was in that every day for 60 days. We did some very outside of the box things. And thank God we did, because we were able to recover. And then his second stroke, he only had 48 hours of symptoms, and he's recovered from that beautifully. I strongly believe it is because of the things that we do for his health and how we have been proactive, not only with the products, but also with food and with other things that we work on, exercise, walking, breathing, different
Yep.
things that we incorporate into our daily plan to make sure that under these stressful situations, and let's be honest, as entrepreneurs, the last few years have been
Tough.
lot, right?
Yep.
And so, what are we doing to overcome that? So, you have to continually be taking care of and filling your cup, so then you can go pour it out and serve, because we're all called to serve, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, that made me even more passionate about helping people, teaching people, because most people don't want to get into science of mitochondria and ATP and know all the things that I know, and I'm great with that. So they just trust me, and they're like, "I don't care, Melissa, just tell me what to take." And so
Yep.
I'm like, "Great. Here's the good, better, best package, if you will." I'm very well aware that budget plays a big part in self-care. Some
Yep.
people can do all the things, and some people need to have a baseline. My biggest thing is you need at least to have a baseline. Because unfortunately, I've watched so many people pour their dollars into maybe their kids' activity or the family vacation or the kids' shoes or whatever that is. Then all of a sudden they're broken, and now all of those dollars have to be transferred to taking care of the broken entrepreneur. Whereas if you had just a baseline and you were able to get that, I tell people we get the snowball rolling of bad. So we have to take that snowball, change the direction, which is going to take some effort, right? And then start building it back towards the good. And it takes a while to get your body to do that.
Yeah. One thing that you mentioned earlier, and I thought about it, but I don't want to interrupt you. But my employees, I don't want to say they get a kick out of me, but they're like, Kristen does not like to get sick. And it's not because I don't want to take a day off. It's because I'm I'm needed in the business. Like, if you're not working, you're not making money. And there's certain things that only I do in the business. And it's just like, I don't have time. As a small business owner, I don't have time to be sick. So yes, if you are sick, I want you to work from home. And if you were here the day before, I am lysoling down the whole entire office of anything that you might have touched because I don't want to get your germs. And 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 I don't feel like I'm a germ freak or like, but I do not get sick either. Um, and I think it's because of what you had me on. I want everyone to know that I do take whatever Melissa tells me to take. And I'm such a believer. I am an affiliate. So we will have an affiliate link below if you want to go ahead and check out different things that we have. What are the other things that we'll have a video? Um, and then there's a
So
Facebook group, right?
yes, yes. So I'm gonna send you a video to put down below in the links. The video is gonna introduce you to cellular activation and talk about our top three activators, which is what I told you about: the NRF2 activation, the which is the oxidative stress, the collagen, as well as the GLP-1 activators. And so I want you to learn about them, because education is absolute key. And then, of course, your affiliate link will be there. And then also, we have an incredible Facebook community that we have been growing with tons of science and stories And we are currently offering let's say mini series. Like this week, we did a 5-day series on ADHD and
Hmm.
things that you can do, like what foods should you stay away from, what foods are beneficial, how much movement should you do,
Wow.
what are some different things that can help you increase your productivity when you know that you have ADHD? And then at the end, of course, we'll also tell you some products that could help you and be beneficial for you. So we really love to give a lot of value and think whole body, like taking
Yeah.
amazing products is a piece of it. And you have to bring in these other pieces because your body is a whole system and you want all the pieces working together. It's kind of like, think about financials. If you just have a balance sheet, but you don't have a P&L, you don't have a cash flow, can you really determine how well that business is going? Well,
Nope. And I have some people who don't have any of that.
exactly.
They just come at tax time with their shoebox
Exactly.
of receipts.
Exactly. And so, but if you go to sell a business or have somebody look at your business and project on how well you're doing, they want to see all of that because that's how they determine and diagnose how well your business is going. And so you need all the same things for your body, and getting your body to work from all different angles is so important. And so we'll put some information about that. So we can put a link to that community. I want you, when you come into that community, it will ask you who referred you. Please, 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 please put Kristen Gunderson, because that's how you're going to get approved in the community. We make sure to protect our community and know all the people that are coming in because it's a very large community. We have over 11,000 people in there. And so we want to make sure that we're all taking care of them very well.
Okay. Is there any option for people who don't do Facebook? I know there's a few out there.
Yeah, so not from those aspects, but if
Okay.
somebody wanted to work with me personally as far as like the 12 habits, or they're looking for a deeper dive. Okay, I'm working with Kristen. I bought from her affiliate link. I'm starting on activation products. What else can I do? Then they can reach out to you and they can
Okay.
connect them to me. I just yeah, so I work on more of a referral basis in that realm.
So we will also have our book a discovery call. And when you book a discovery call, you get my office manager, Liz, and you can just tell her, hey, like I'm coming in from the health and entrepreneurship thing. Like I want to have a meeting, like maybe with Melissa and Kristen, and Liz will arrange that for us. Okay.
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
All right. Any last words, Melissa, or we're good?
You know, I my last word is I've been following Brennan Burchard lately, and I know Kristen, you and I are going to go to his event in
Yep.
a couple of weeks. And his book, the high performance habits. So he's a high performance coach and works with very high end entrepreneurs. And he implements these health steps in every single thing he does. And it talks a lot about, as business owners and entrepreneurs, we're so disciplined in our business. We need to be just as disciplined in our self care. And you will be absolutely blown away at how your productivity goes up, your performance goes up. And I'm even willing to bet those bottom dollar net profit will go up when you are taking care of yourself. And we've seen it with Kristen. She has gone
Yes.
from, thinking that she was not going to be able to figure out how to survive to absolutely thriving and growing her business exponentially. And I believe that each and every one of you can do the same.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Melissa. It was a pleasure having you. And if you liked this in any way, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and make some comments below, and we will get back to you. And of course, if you want to take a look at what we're doing, please go ahead and take a look at the affiliate link or the video or join the Facebook group. See you next time.